Everyone, this is Elias from RevMatch Media, and today we're going to be taking a look at the 2025 Chevrolet Silverado EV. Now, I've been wanting to drive this for a long time, especially after comparing it or driving the Ford F-150 Lightning. So let's see if this can stack up to that. So let's go ahead and get started. We get started in the front, and this thing is awesome. So I love the Slate Gray Metallic color that we get. It's a very subtle, but still kind of stands out. I got a lot of attention this week because this truck is really hard to miss. It looks different, it looks futuristic, but it still has a cool, like kind of old school feel to it. Yes, I'm talking more about that side profile, which we'll take a look at soon. But love this color. It's, like I said, it's subtle, but it really stands out. Now, a couple of things with this. Yeah, we're gonna get started on the grille, and I wish we had something a little bit better. Now, we do get this LED light bar that, you know, looks kind of like a big unibrow, but I love that design. It looks really cool, especially at night. Then we have the illuminated Chevy badge, the bow tie, which looks awesome. Just little things like that really stand out. But what I really don't like is this part here. Yeah, we're back to that EV styling of like making it flat. And I get it, there's nothing here, but I like the Ford Lightning and what they did where they gave it kind of a fake grill or a pseudo grill. Give me a different texture here. Give me something else here. Don't just give me a flat kind of panel here. So I think that's probably one of the things that I really don't like about the design of this, because after all, you guys did great with the Equinox EV. That thing looks so cool. It's got so many like intricacies and things like that and textures on it. Yeah, it had that kind of like diamond plating. That would have been nice to have there. But anyways, moving on, we have the actual headlights here, which look awesome. You know, no issues with lighting up the road, even though they're a tiny little I almost said bulb, but it's an LED system, tiny little projector there. We do get a little bit of black framing around there, and we have the grill down here, and we have a little bit of some plastics with the sensors. Make sure you don't hit anything, and you're gonna need it because this is a big truck, and it barely fits on my driveway, so I was definitely using the most out of these little sensors. We do have a good amount of ground clearance as well, which is nice. We do have a little bit of some aero pieces that looks like, yeah, a couple of screws, and I think that's out if you're wanting to take this a little bit more off-roading or just need that little bit of approach angle to improve with that little piece gone. But overall though, yeah, come on aftermarket, you guys have to have something to like change this component. But other than that though, it's awesome. I love the color. So let's go ahead and see what we have under this Frunk. Yeah. We get under the Frunk, and yes, we have a Frunk, so we can actually store things in it. We'll take a look at that next, but I want to talk about the performance of it. So with the Silverado EV, we do get a dual motor four-wheel drive system in this, so one in the front, one in the rear. And as far as the power delivery, with this being the LT, we do get 645 horsepower and 765 pound-feet of torque when we activate that wide open watts button. Yeah, you feel it. Even though it's a big vehicle, this thing can really get going. And we'll try the 0 to 30 and 0 to 60 and see what we get there later on in the video. But we also get the 11.5 kilowatt capable charging, so we do have that for level 2 charging. I was able to charge this thing up with my level 2 Altel charger, so no issues there. It was actually fairly quick because it's such a larger level 2 11.5 on there, so that's been nice. Power delivery, performance, drivability, yes, yes, and yes. That's the great thing about this vehicle, is that when you don't have the wide open watts button activated, it is such a civilized, it is such an easy vehicle to drive. It's a big vehicle, but what I mean by that is the acceleration. It's nice and linear. We don't get the gobs of torque off the line to the point that you get sick, or that you're able to just kind of do one of those with the throttle and just get everyone sick. So you're able to kind of ease into things. The power delivery is tame when you are not at the wide open watts, which I love. That's exactly what I really want. Now, if you hammer it, you're still gonna get a good amount of power. So don't be worried about that. And if you really need to go off the line, turn on that wide open watts button, because that is gonna give you the insane acceleration that you want. But that's been the big thing with this vehicle, is that the drivability has been spectacular. I love it. It's exactly what you want it to be, to make this an everyday cruiser. And yeah, with that cruise, speaking about cruise, Super Cruise, it's been awesome. Love it. You know, let the vehicle drive for you. And I know it's a little tough to kind of let go of the wheel, especially as someone that is really, you know, a driver's driver, so to speak. But yeah, this has been awesome. I love it. Let's go ahead and break down what we have in here. Now let's talk frunk. Yes, well, first, it looks awesome. Love this front end. And a couple of things. There's a couple of ways we can open it up. There is the key fob. We have the button on the inside, and there's also an outside button. This is a little confusing because the manual, I had to look it up, actually says it's right in there, dead center, which we can see it's clearly not, because we have the front-facing camera in there. Where it actually is off to the right. So it's not the small opening, but the next big opening, and it's right under there. I don't know if you can see it. There's a tiny button right in there. You push it, and it opens you up. So, oh yeah, and you have to have the key fob with you, just like you would any other car, you know, any other door kind of situation. So just make sure you have the key fob with you. That's where the little button is going to be. It's going to be off to the side, towards the driver's side. And then when we open it up, we get this. Yeah, we have a lot of space. It's pretty big. Now, I gotta say, I feel like the F-150 though was a little bit on the bigger side. So I feel like we do get more space with that. The other thing I really liked more on the F-150 is the lighting. So we do get lighting up here on the F-150 to basically shine down. There is a possibility that maybe on the higher trims, maybe on the RST, we do get that. So let me know if that's the case. Either way though, I love Frunks. I love Frunks. We do have a ton of things that we can put in here. I'll show you when I did my Home Depot run, everything that I packed. We do get a 120 volt 20 amp connection right in there. We do have the connections there for those little mesh kind of things that we get here. Tons of space. We have our jack back there in a little case, and we also get that little light right in there. Oh yeah, and here's the windshield wiper fluid that has been kind of going off, so definitely gonna need to refill that. But that's kind of what you get with the Frunk. So let me go ahead and we will push the button right in there, and then that closes, and that's what you get with the Frunk. We get down to the wheel and tire package, and we have this massive 22-inch wheel, and it is wrapped in the 275/50 Bridgestone Alenza tire. Now, a couple of things with this. Yes, we have a very EV flat-faced front, which looks cool. I like it. I kind of like the kind of, it almost looks like a turbofan design, because it's just flat. You can't even see the brakes unless you really kind of peek in there, but it's cool. I like it. We have a little bit of the polished face, as well as the, you know, other parts, other inserts, I guess, in black. So would I go aftermarket? Sure, you know, spicing it up a little bit, change it up. But I like this design. It really fits the side profile, which we'll see. Then the tires. The tires have been great. No issues with really traction. It feels fine. You know, no road noise. One thing though is these tires are really, really inflated. I think the fronts are supposed to be 68 and the back are supposed to be 75, if I'm not mistaken. I'll go ahead and correct myself if that's the case, but Yeah, as I was filming the inside, which I did first before kind of the outside, I was sending the PSI to the gauge cluster, which is something I dislike. You'll see what I mean. And I saw the PSI and I go, oh my gosh, they overinflated these. And I thought it was at the shipping PSI, which I've had other vehicles and someone pointed it out. And yeah, no, that's how much pressure is supposed to go in here. But yeah, no complaints with that. Now, the suspension, this is the coil system. There is a airbag option. You want to go with that. The suspension is not the smoothest, it's not the softest. It's pretty on the stiff side. So it's more it feels more performance like, but I don't know if it really translates to a welcoming performance. It's stiff. It feels stiff. The other thing I just noticed, which you'll see later on in the video when I'm doing the 360 camera system, yeah, there were some birds nesting on the passenger tire. And when I parked here, I have an actual nest. Yeah, with a little egg in it. So I'm gonna have to be careful taking this out. And yeah. So if you live in rural areas or where there's a lot of birds, just be careful. Apparently yeah, this is a thing. So if you have a Chevy Silverado EV, let me know if they've made a nest in your suspension. So let's go ahead and see what we have on the side. We get to the side and yes, we have the modern day Avalanche. And Chevy, you guys kind of messed up there with the nameplate and could have easily tugged at our heartstrings, so to speak, and continued that name. I love it. It really fits it. The Chevrolet Avalanche EV. Yeah, I think it works. But anyways, I love the side profile that we get because of that little area there. But let's break it down. In the front, we can see we kind of have a stubby nose compared to what is the rest of the truck, which has made things easy for us to park and get really up close to the garage door when we're parking in our driveway. But we do have to be careful because this is a very long pickup truck. So we were really taking advantage of those cameras on there. Now, we do see the lights peeking over on the side, and I just realized we have a nice tiny little bow tie on the side marker there, which is nice. Then we get the big wheels, which, like I said, they look really good. They definitely needed to be this size, and I like the design. It fits well with the Avalanche, yes, Avalanche inspired, we'll say that, design on the side profile. And then we have the fender covers over here, which are nice. We have it in that textured black. We continue down here and we have a nice step that has made life easy to just kind of get on it and to hop into the truck itself. And then we have the mirror. We do have the camera system for part of that HD surround, which has been awesome. We have some black framing, always my favorite, around the windows. We have big doors, massive doors to get into the truck. And then we have my favorite, the Avalanche part of the Silverado EV, which looks awesome. Then we get the nice bed and we have some big taillights just kind of already peeking over on the side. And we have our charging port on the driver's side on there as well. So, oh yeah, and the Silverado badging with the nice little blue E to let you know this is the electric version. As you couldn't probably already tell from the different design that we get on the gas-powered Silverado. But yeah, that's kind of what we get in the side profile. Now, I have my key in my pocket. I'm gonna go ahead and grab the handle and pull, and nothing's gonna happen because we do have the little button here. We do have to press the button to go ahead and open it up. And it is a big door, like I said, but super easy to get into. Makes the opening nice and big as well. We can go ahead and close this off, press the button, and that's gonna go ahead and lock it. And then we get to the rear. Again, we're not going to get the sensor, the grab sensor, but we do have the little button that we can go ahead and open up. And big door for all your extra family members, whether they're, kids or your pets. Easy to get into, really big openings back here. And then we can go ahead and close it. And thankfully we have the little lock. Yes, we still can use that little button to lock in case your hands are full, the kiddo gets out, they go ahead and press it and they want to go ahead and lock the truck for you, they can. But yeah, that's kind of what we get with the side profile, which is awesome. I love this thing. So let's go ahead and go to the back and see what we have back there. We take a look at the back, and this thing is awesome. I love the way that this looks, and yeah, there's a lot to it as well that may not kind of meet the eye, so to speak. So we get started on the top, and we do have a little bit of a spoiler, so it kicks a little bit further out than the rear glass, and we do have two cameras up there. One is for the rear view mirror camera, and then the other one is the bed camera. I've been using the rear view camera the whole time. It's just great. And the bed camera, yeah, let's just say I used it to make sure that the 8-foot ladder that was able to fit in this was still gonna be there. Yeah, so it was nice to kind of keep an eye on that as well. And then we do get the cover here, which we'll take a look at how much trouble I had with this. We get the tailgate, which has been awesome. So this is the multi-flex tailgate, which has different ways of opening it up. We'll look at that soon. Now, the taillights are awesome. I love this design. We have a transparent outer plastic with a frosted red. So it is a frosted red color on the inside, and it just has a really cool shape to it. We have black accents in there. We have chrome. We have carbon fiber pattern in there. It doesn't look like it's, don't think it's actual carbon fiber, but we have cool design there. And then we have our reverse lights in there as well. So loving this tail light design. There's a lot to this, and it's big. It really is big. Then we get down to the bumper, and yes, thank you, we have a cutout, so it makes things easier for us to get in, whether you go on the left or on the right. You also have the center there as well, which is pretty easy to access. Yeah, don't worry, I'll show you how we can get in there even easier with the tailgate. The other thing is we have the towing capacity. Now, with the LT properly equipped, you could tow up to 12,500 pounds. Yeah, that's a lot of Miatas for me to tow to the racetrack. But yeah, it's awesome that you're able to, you know, have that towing capacity in an EV like this. It's a big truck. So yeah, that's kind of what you get in the back. So let me grab the camera and I'll show you everything else that's in here. Now we take a look at the tailgate, and this is what's pretty impressive. Now my driveway is a little bit on the slope side, so there is a good decline to it. This is what's impressive. So I'll go ahead and open up the tailgate with the remote, and it actually kicks it down, which is not the results I've gotten in other trucks that have a tailgate that can power open up. I've had some that, because of the weight or just because of the steeper angle, it will not come down. But that's kind of about it, because it does not go back up when you have the multi-tailgate. And let's just say it was pretty useful. So we do have that, and there is a button right here, which will let you go ahead and bring this part down. So now we have that part down, and then this one is always a little tricky, but I got it in the first try, so I'm just getting used to it. And it's a little step, easy to just kind of get on, and then you're in the bed. Now, we do have this cover that was a little on the tricky side to get, and it does kind of require two people. It does have this kind of Velcro thing here, and it has these poles that have to basically line up on those little tabs there. It was kind of annoying because that happened. Yeah, so it would kind of pull over to one side. So this is a two-person cover, which now I just realized it's just me and my son right now. So it's gonna be a little tough to kind of put this back on. But yeah, that's the cover you get with that. And let's take a look at the bed. We do have the cover on it here, and we do have the bed liner, the spray-on bed liner, which has been great. Really love it. It really grips as well, so that's good to know there. And we have some lighting on the sides, and we do have some power there on the side. So we do have 240 volt, we have two 120 volts, 20 amp, and then 30 amp. So we do have a good amount of power available there, which is nice, because obviously you want to be able to power tons of things with this, because that's kind of what you know, its big selling point is for a vehicle kind of like this. But yeah, that's kind of what we get with the bed. I'm gonna have to try to figure how to put that on by myself, but I'll go ahead and close the bed. Oh, and another thing is, yeah, with the multi-tailgate, you have different configurations that you can kind of do. My favorite, honestly, has been that I've been able to put the that down and basically use this as like a workstation. So I've had my computer on here. I had it for a regular Silverado, so it was awesome. I just had my laptop here working on what I needed to, and when I was done, I just did that, and that's what you get with the multi-tailgate. We take a look at the door, and it's pretty good. There's a lot of cool things that I really like about this. So first, we have this texture. So this whole piece here is a really grippy, kind of dimpled, like harder plastic, but it still has a little bit of a give. I like it. It's been really good. Feels high end, really. Then we get this. This is probably the trim that I would have liked a little bit better. It does get a little bit on the dirty side. If your hands are just a little bit greasy, you're definitely going to mark it there. Would have been nice to have kind of like their carbon fiber finish that Chevy has in other vehicles. So that would have been a nice touch to that. Then we have our seating memories there. We have two. We have our controls for our windows. I was a little kind of disappointed that we only have one auto up. I would have liked it on all four there. But we get the Bose speaker. This thing has been incredible. I was so surprised at how good this system was. It was banging. It was just hitting all the right notes, all the right frequencies. So really loving that. And tiny, tiny little tweaks there. Then we get to the really nice part, which is this. So we have actually two areas for water bottles, which is good. We have that there. We have, maybe we can kind of sneak in a third. No, we cannot. But yeah, we have a little bit of a cubby there. And then over here, we just have more additional storage, which is nice to just have a little bit of that information there. Oh, looks like it's got it actually has an umbrella symbol. So that is where you put your umbrella. Pretty cool. Yeah. I love this door. It's really functional. Again, the speaker system's nice. The grip on the top is really good. It's just a really, really nice design. We take a look at the seats, and these things are nice. Now, they are a little bit on the plain looking side. Maybe something a little bit more fun design would have been good, but let me just say they perform great. So I would honestly prefer the blander design that we get, but the quality that we feel of this seat is definitely what I would prefer. They're nice big bolsters on the side, nice width, so they are big boy friendly there. The materials feel nice and premium, heated, vented, powered, good positioning, easy to position. The stitching, we have some cool, like black and white piping there. We have the stitching. Again, it's a little bit on the bland side, but performance wise for a seat, they did great. They were super comfortable. I was able to, drive hundreds of miles in this thing and be comfortable the whole time. So yeah, I'll trade up the looks for the way that they feel. We take a look at the steering wheel, and this thing is really nice. I love the way that it feels. So it does feel nice and big. We do have really soft materials. We do get the stitching on the inside, and it is in a cool pattern. Only thing is, yeah, it's a little bit, bland again with the white, but at least it's contrasting, and it's not just like the same color of the material itself that it's basically stitching up. But yeah, it feels really nice. We do have the Super Cruise. So it does come with Super Cruise, and this thing is awesome. I've been third week in a row with Super Cruise, and it has just been a dream to just sit back and enjoy the ride. It's been really, for someone again that is really into driving manual cars, having control. Basically, it's nice to just kind of have a system that you can let go of some of that control literally and let it do its driving for you. So that's where we have the controls here. We do get the regenerative paddle back here, so it's a little bit of a kind of a hand brake, so to speak, a little bit there. So it helps with basically just regenerating a little bit of the power back. Obviously, if you brake, it also does that too. And then on the right hand side, we have the controls for the audio system and the gauge cluster. And yeah, that's kind of what you get with the steering wheel. Oh, and we get the column shifter. I have been loving these column shifters from Chevy. So it brings you back to some old school times, and it's just super easy to use and really quick to kind of activate from one gear to the other. So loving that. And yeah, now we're gonna go ahead and talk about the gauge cluster, because it's again part of this system that I wish we had more options. And this is the other option that you get. We have the kind of, gap assist there to make sure that we have, the adjustment of how much you want the automatic system to basically get closer to the next vehicle, so to speak, for the adaptive cruise. What I don't like about this gauge cluster is on the left-hand side, we can change that panel to different measurements, but you gotta throw it from the infotainment screen, and it's kind of a hassle. So I'll go ahead and just kind of show you guys really quick. And vehicle status, if I want the tire pressure, I can go ahead and after then press adjust to driver display. Yes. And it has to switch it over to this view, and there you go. You have that as your PSI. And don't worry, those tire pressures are really high. That's what they're supposed to be. They're really, well, a little bit side, different variations, but it's supposed to be in the I think it was like 68 in the front and 75 in the back. So yeah, that's kind of crazy as far as pressure. So again, in order for me to see that, I have to do all that. So it's kind of a letdown with that. So I wish we can just integrate it in here, or, just kind of one of these, or, this big blank area here. So yeah, that's kind of what you get with the cluster. Now, one of my other favorite things is the mirror. So yeah, we have a typical mirror. Yeah, you can see the reflection there, but you go ahead and do that, and you're using the camera. Yeah, you're using the rear view camera, which has been spectacular. It's been great to help with night driving when it's been just really bright vehicle lights in the back. And it's been great to see literally about 3 lanes of traffic when you would otherwise see people's heads. So definitely an awesome thing to have in a truck like this. We get over to the infotainment screen, and this thing is big and clear and nice colors, and doesn't have Apple CarPlay. So yeah, I was kind of disappointed with this. Again, this is one of those lovely Chevys or GM products that don't have Apple CarPlay, whether it's wired or wireless. Yeah, I'm going to complain about it because it's just a system that I'm used to. I can connect to my, to the vehicle, and if I get text messages, I can have it read them to me, and I can see when I get text messages, that kind of stuff. So unfortunately, you don't get that connectivity with the Silverado EV. Yeah, it's kind of a shame, but we do get the functionality for Bluetooth, so I am still transmitting my music through Bluetooth. Has been great. Again, that Bose sound system is awesome, and we have the shortcuts up here, which have been really cool and really easy to kind of get to. Let's take a look at the camera system, which has been awesome. I love this thing. We start with just the front view. We'll go with standard. And yeah, you can see my wife's little Trailblazer there. Cool little fun little vehicle. But yeah, we can see the front, nice view, nice and clear as well. We can do the overhead to make sure that I am parked within the driveway and not out on the sidewalk. And then we get the side, which has been my favorite. When I press on the side, I can see the tires to make sure that I, because I did have my wife's Trailblazer here and the Silverado EV here. So I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't, kind of driving on the grass or damaging the flower beds like I did with a previous vehicle that was tiny to squeeze into these tiny driveways. Yeah, Texas-sized driveways don't exist in Texas. But yeah, so it was easy. Oh, there's a pigeon. There's a pigeon in there. So yeah, so it's crazy. Yeah, there you go. yeah, I guess the pigeons like the Silverado. But besides making sure you're clear of pigeons, you can also make sure that you're not touching the grass or like I said, damaging the flower beds, because when you, that's the front, but you can go to the rear view. And of course we have the standard view, which obviously we want to make sure we don't hit the garage door, but we can also do the overhead to really make sure we don't hit the garage door, and also the side. So yeah, it's not the clearest image, but it'll do enough so that I can make sure again that I'm not driving on the flower beds. And then obviously we have the hitch view to make sure that if I decide to trailer my Miata, which is right behind that garage door, it's easy to just go ahead and mount. And then the other view we get is the bed view, which I'm already dreading having to figure out how I'm gonna fix this, because again, like I said, this it's almost a two-person thing. So I wouldn't recommend getting this bed cover. Get the other options, like the yeah, they have different ones. Just don't get this one. But yeah, that's what we get with the camera system. And then yeah, we take a look at the other options, and we get things like the drive modes, which have been pretty much on normal the whole time. I can go into my mode and have design basically how I wanted it. If you want the sport feel for the steering, the acceleration feel, the motor sound, and then yeah, basically it's telling you what the my mode is. But I've been on normal. It's been pretty much fine the whole time. Off-road if you want that, and then the tow haul mode. Now when you're normal, when you're in the mode, you do get this button. Yeah, that's the let's make things fast, and let's see if we can hear it. So it does warn you. It's like, get ready, because we are going to, yeah, have pretty fast acceleration in this big vehicle. So it's been fun to just kind of have that on when you want to have some accelerating fun. But that's kind of what you get with the thing, with the infotainment screen. And like I said, we have some shortcuts up here, there, when we can just check on the charging options there. Yeah, you can charge now, you can sign in, and yeah, basically have it find stations for you. You can schedule things. Yeah, home charger, that all those things that you really need. So not too bad. But again, I would like the Apple wireless CarPlay function. I'm not even asking, I'm going full out and saying I want wireless Apple CarPlay. Don't give me that wired stuff, because Chevy, you should be definitely giving us that function. But otherwise, then, you know, it's a good system. And then down here we do have the AC controls, which have been kind of not confusing, so very easy to set up. As you can see, pretty straightforward. But I've been having to fluctuate the temperature so much. So I'm like wondering where the sensor is for this, because it's just not reading. It's not a set and forget system is what I'm trying to say. Other vehicles, I've set my temperature and I've had it like that for the whole week. I haven't touched a single thing. No fan adjustment, no, you know, front, if it's foggy, it just took care of everything. Not this though. I'm having to constantly put my temperature up and down to kind of compensate for what it's not doing really. So it's kind of a shame. But if you need to fight the climate system, good thing you have this. Yeah, so we do have still a knob for the temperature, which has been nice. And then we still have some buttons for the fan speed, you know, turning it off, auto temp, and then defrost options there. So at least it's not too bad that you're having to kind of make adjustments for that. What is bad though, and I hate to say it because I had really high hopes for it, is the wireless charger. Yeah, so I can't do my typical chuck test, and what my chuck test is I literally just chuck my phone into the wireless charger of whatever vehicle it is that I'm reviewing. So I can't chuck it because you have to kind of do one of these and put it in there and have it charged. And it's charging now, but in a few minutes, it's going to stop charging, and then it's going to start charging, and then it's going to stop charging, and then it's going to start or stop, whichever one I wasn't on. But anyways, it's not there. It stopped charging. It literally just stopped charging right now. So I don't know what is going on with it. I tried it with the case, without my case. still same results. So that's when I had to resort to the USB-C connections that we have on the side, which have been good. Yeah, I've just been cabled in, and yeah, unfortunately, I've been cabled in, but I haven't been able to use my Apple CarPlay. Yeah, I know I'm gonna kind of rant about it, but that's what we get there. Then we move over to the cup holders, which have been nice big size, nice gap in between for bigger cups as well. And then we also have the rubber grips on the side, so if we have a smaller cup, it can go ahead and grab those. And it's nice, and it's got some pressure, but not too much like other vehicles that I've experienced where it's like a death grip on it. And if it's like a styrofoam cup, you're definitely going to make some holes in that styrofoam cup to get a grip to take them out. So they've been pretty good. And then yeah, this is pretty much where my phone has been, in this little cubby here. So yeah, it's nice with the cable plugged in. I guess they expected you to not put it in the wireless charger. Yeah, I know, bad joke. But yeah, that's kind of what we get there. Then we get to the armrest, which has been big. It's been big, it's been comfortable, no complaints about it. The only thing that's kind of different is the fact that, look, so I'm gonna open it from the side without pressing any button, and it doesn't have a latch. Yeah, I was kind of confused. I kept doing one of these to bring it up, and I just said, you know what, let me just pull it up, and that's what you gotta do. Yeah, so there isn't any latch to for the armrest. And then we have the little compartment, which is not really that little. It's a pretty good size. We have a little light there, and we are going to get a USB-C connection right in there. So when you're done, you just put it down. It's not going to latch or anything. It's just there, and that's what you get with the armrest. We get to the rear door, and this thing is big. It's massive, and it's still got some good stuff. Now, we don't get, yeah, unfortunately, we get the skimped out typical back seat material, so it is a little bit on the tougher side. It's harder plastic. It's not that really nice, grippy, kind of more, almost want to say like leather feel to it. It's not, it's synthetic, but it just feels better. Yeah, and then we get the same material, so it's not, it's more durable is what Chevy will probably say. And yeah, we do have this material there. We have the stitching, which is nice. The Bose system, which has been spectacular in this thing, has been loud, great for blasting your tunes. And then we have your water bottle holders. We have 2 of them. And then the umbrella holder. Yeah, we get an umbrella holder back here because, yeah, just because you're in the back doesn't mean you have to suffer and get soaked. So you'll still have your spot for your umbrella. Then we get to the seats, and these things are nice. They're big, they're comfortable. Yeah, there's tons of leg room, so that's not going to be a problem there. You do get the heated options for the ones on the outer sides there, so no issue. And we do have the kids seat latches down here, so was able to put my kiddos booster seat. It's not in because I'm gonna show you how we kind of break this apart for the Midgate situation we have basically behind here. But yeah, no complaints, had tons of headroom, so loving this rear. So that's what you get. Let's go ahead and set up so we can see how to get all this stuff down. Okay, so I'm gonna show you how we are going to basically open this whole thing up. So if my ladder were longer than 8 feet that I had, we'd be able to literally put it through. Now, you wouldn't be able to have a rear passenger, so just kind of be aware of that. But literally, we bring this forward, we bring, oh, there's a latch down here, which is going to bring this one down. There's a button here so that it can go ahead, go in there. And we are going to need to do the same thing on the other side. So I'll go ahead and repeat that process. We go ahead and grab this, move it forward. Then we have this latch, which is going to bring this forward. And again, we have to push those buttons or else they don't go down. So we'll go ahead and do that. Then the next step is we have some latches right up here for you to go ahead and get that glass down. And yeah, so notice that I undid the latches, but that is because there's a little catch there, which I'll show you now. Now they've really done this to make it a one-person job. So when we undo the rear glass, there's a little catch right in there. So it's gonna help catch it when you do the other one. So you wanna do the passenger side first and then come over here to the driver's side so that you can go ahead and undo that little safety kind of grab, so that then you can put it right in here. So we'll go ahead and do that next. Now that we've taken the rear glass out, we'll go ahead and put it in this little groove here and make sure that you position it, and there's a little bit of a latch right in the middle, catches it there. So nicely put. And then we push this button. Yeah, so that the whole system comes down. And there you go. We basically have the opening to go through. Let me go ahead and show you. So this is what you get. And it's literally the distance from the back of the front seats all the way to the back of the bed. And we can open up that tailgate and even extend it and have that little cover right there, that one, to kind of work as a lip. And I'm still dreading this damn thing. Yes, I know. As you can see, it's kind of a pain. But it's awesome if you're just needing to, man, a refrigerator, you can transport that thing laying down. You know, any big box, any big item. Probably my cabinets, my garage cabinets, I could have easily transported them laying down. So yeah, this is pretty awesome. I love this. And yes, there's a steps, there's a method to the madness, but once you kind of get the hang of it, and that's, yeah, you'll be able to easily open and close this thing. So we take the Silverado for a drive, and it's really nice. So one of the big things I really love about it is the fact that we do have a very drivable power delivery. So that's kind of difficult nowadays with EVs having just an enormous amount of power available with all the crazy torque that you can get with these things. And we still get the crazy torque numbers, but we get it at the tap of a button. Other than that, the drivability and power delivery is nice. It's livable. It's usable for every day. Yeah. So that's one of the things I really love about the Silverado EV. One thing I don't though is that. So suspension. I am feeling a lot more things than I did with the Ford F-150. Yeah. So just kind of be aware of that. Now we are in the LT that does have the conventional suspension compared to the other trims that have the air suspension. So I wish I had that because, you know, the king of ride quality Ram trucks with the 4-corner air suspension is untouchable. But if you get this, just be aware it's a little bit more sportier feeling, meaning that we're gonna feel the bumps a little bit more. Other than that though, I mean, the seat, I'm in a nice comfortable spot. The seat itself is comfortable. My hands are able to reach the wheel with no issues with pedal positioning. Just everything I fit really nice in this truck. And yeah, my line of sight is perfect, even though I'm sitting extremely low, because that's the way I like to sit. It's just a great ride. I love the way that this drives on everyday situation. Again, just be a little bit more forgiving of the suspension and what it's going to translate to you in the cab. And I think that's kind of what's been the most impressive about this truck is its everyday use of it, whether it's, you know, putting a ladder like I did in the bed of the truck, or just packing the front with groceries, packing it with Home Depot things that I bought. Just a lot of great functionality to this. And yeah, if I would have gotten a bigger ladder, like I said, I probably would have been able to open that up and get things through. And the other thing, just everyday driving, you know, to the store, running errands with the whole family, it's just a great overall everyday vehicle, really. So we're gonna go ahead and go to the more fun area of the drive, and we don't have a sport mode, so we don't have a sport mode per se, so we do have to go to the My mode and sport, steering, acceleration, feeling. Let's do the sound. Let's do the sport, And that's kind of how you're gonna have to set up your Sport. So we'll accelerate a little bit. And again, when we don't have the wide open watts mode, it even in the Sport accelerating mode, so to speak, it's linear, it's livable. Now, it is a heavy truck too, so you gotta put the brakes on fairly good amount. And yeah, the mid corner turning, it's pretty nice. So now don't think it's a slouch, because it's definitely not, even without the wide open watts mode. So you can still kind of get this big guy going. Again, as you can see, it's gonna need a good amount of steering input for you to turn, and those wheels are massive as well. So I wonder if that's probably translating a little bit of the feeling that I have. But yeah, let's just say that if we were to put this out on a track and my Miata, and it's a technical track, the Miata would definitely, momentum would be in its favor, so to speak. But yeah, so we are going to go ahead and see how we do with the 3-point turn. We will go ahead and drop, the suspension. Oh, it's a little unforgiving. So we'll go ahead and drop a little bit of the wheel. We are turning the wheel completely. And yeah, steering wheel column shifter, which has been awesome, one of my favorites. And it's actually pretty good. So we'll cheat a little bit. Yeah, we'll kind of get on the grass. But it's not too bad. For what it is, it has definitely been pretty good at kind of, putting it in spots, putting it in tight spots with really no concern. Now we've gone ahead and set up our race box. It's our telemetry box for our 0 to 30, 0 to 60. You could use it for drag timing. You can use it for a lap timer as well. It's all in one little box. It's great. The company is great to work with. I'll go ahead and put my link in the description for maybe a little bit of a discount. So we will go ahead and we will put this, we have it in sport mode, and we are going to turn on the wow setting. Yeah, so you hear the boom sound. So wide open watts is active. We are going to put our foot on the brake. We are going to accelerate a little bit. It's holding it. It's giving us a little bit of a whir. On 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, so let's talk numbers. We have 0 to 30 in 1.76 seconds. That is insane. That is probably the fastest 0 to 30 that I have recorded. The 0 to 60, 4.57 seconds. Not the fastest. So we still have the 0 to 60 record with the Ford F-150 Lightning. But I believe we'll check out, and I'll put it here if it is the better option, or which one did the better 0 to 30. But this 0 to 30 felt fast. 1.76 seconds. That's insane. And we are still in the wow mode, and you can kind of feel it. So with the we'll use a little bit of regenerative braking, which really it doesn't feel like brakes. It feels better than brakes when you use that little paddle on the left hand side. So it pulls it back, and it's like, it feels like engine braking. I mean, it really does, where it's definitely doesn't feel like the vehicle's kind of going off and depending 100% on the brake, so to speak. So that's the thing, the power delivery, even with the wow, it does feel like a burst, and then it does fall a little flat. So I do feel the EV plateau, while with the F-150 Lightning, we felt it going faster and faster and faster. We didn't really feel the plateau as much. So yeah, just kind of be aware of that. But it's still fun. It's still a blast to drive. But again, if you don't need that insane amount of power, you don't need to turn that on. You could just use it in everyday driving, and I'll put it in normal mode. It's just great. It really is. It's impressive on how this thing drives. Again, I really wish I had the air suspension to kind of give you that. So assuming, again, it's the more premium option, that is going to give you a softer ride. But my father, old school, 89 years old, F-150 driver, carbureted, F-150 that he had for a long time in his life, manual trucks his whole life, minus the last one. He's getting a little bit older, so it's a little harder for him to shift. But what I'm trying to say is just old school mentality, really. And he was like, no, EVs are not for me, but he was loving this. And so was I. I was pretty impressed with this. Now, the tough question, this or the F-150? It's tough. So what I would say is if you're really a Chevy fan, this is going to be a no-brainer for you. You're used to, kind of the newer Chevy things. For me, it's tough to move past the fact that we don't have that wireless Apple CarPlay or even CarPlay period, because that is a big part of my drivability, to the point that in my personal Miata, I changed my radio to something that does have wireless Apple CarPlay. So it is a big factor, and it has been a big factor with these newer vehicles. We are just so in tune or so attached to our our devices that it's sometimes a make or break decision. So if you can get past that, and you love the Chevy, and you love the brand, and you love the Avalanche style, because that's definitely what this kind of reminds me of, you're gonna want to go with this. So I hope you've enjoyed my review. Oh yeah, it's that time of the Chevrolet Silverado EV. And remember, you definitely want to have wide open watts on, because it's definitely going to give you the wow factor. See ya.